fun is an intentional pause from our drive towards productivity. So think about that right there. It's an intentional step back from producing. The first question that we always ask everybody that we meet, right, it's just kind of rolls off of our tongue, almost like we don't even think about it. It's just there. It's just the thing that we do. Is we ask people, so what do you do? And by that, we're really asking them a question related to one of the other F's of Oola, their field, meaning where do you earn a paycheck? Or maybe if you don't earn a paycheck, are you a student or you stay at home parent or just whatever. It's related to what do you do. Whereas fun is really this step back from that where we can really lean into the idea of not you've heard the phrase, not being a human doing, being a human being. So it's that step back from the drive towards productivity, so that there's intent to it, so that we can rest, we can restore the body, we can restore the soul, we can restore the spirit. All those are important. So this fun thing's not just about the body. It's also about your mind. It's about your emotions. This is the area where you reset, you rejuvenate, you recharge. It's not rest. So I don't want to include this with the topic of sleep, although rest and sleep is super important. This is this time when you step back and you enjoy the good gifts that God has given you, that He's granted you. So in the same way that God has granted us uh, money, or like Scripture, Deuteronomy 8:18, He gives you the power to get wealth. In the same way that God has granted us a field to work. Work was given before the fall. So Adam was created to steward and tend and care for before the fall came. Work is not a curse, so your field is not a curse. Your fitness, your health, your body is a gift. In the same way that all these areas, your family is a gift, your friends are a gift. So also is fun, and you need to look at receiving fun as this gift. So it's this pause to step back to really receive the gifts that God's given you in the form of fun. Now, let me tell you a couple things that kind of mitigate against this, and this is really super important. Okay, the first thing that mitigates against this is you and I tend to step out of rhythm, and when we do that, we're stepping away from how the universe is actually wired. Okay, now you know that law of entropy, as things tend to kind of go downhill. That's really kind of what we do in this area with how the universe is wired. Okay, so the universe is wired, and I don't mean universe like this ethereal, like, uh, like some people say the universe gave me this gift. All right, so I would say they want to say that, that's great, but I think everything's more personal than that. Like, I think there's a personal, relational God that put all this stuff in motion, and some of it, He put things in place. Um, they're created in a certain way, and when we step into how they're created, we function better. So I think that He created the universe, and it functions in this rhythm of on, on, off, on, on, off. It's almost like if you look at the way the things are created. If you go back to the Garden of Eden and you look at the creation story, even before the Garden of Eden, there's this evening and then morning. First day, evening, morning. Second day, evening, morning. Third day, evening, morning. Fourth day, evening, morning. Fifth day. And notice that that rhythm is evening, then morning. Evening, then morning. Evening, then morning. It's the whole thing starts off with this off and then on. You and I tend to count our days in the sense of the day starts when I wake up, and then it ends, and then I've got the night, and I just kind of sleep and recover. And the whole Hebrew mindset, the mindset from creation was very different. It was evening and then morning. It was rest first, and not just rest in the sense of sleep. Enjoy first, off first, and then work. Off and then work. Off and then work. Off and then work. Like there was this certain rhythm to it that's almost the opposite of what you and I have. Then when we step into fun, we're stepping back into that rhythm of, hey, one of the most important things that you can do is not produce. This, by the way, is why they pulled Jesus off the cross when they did, because the Sabbath was coming, which was Saturday back then. Or I guess Sabbath still would be Saturday. We celebrate Sunday as a different thing because of the resurrection. They're pulling him off because it's going to be the Sabbath. So they crucify him on Friday. He dies. They check him around 3 o'clock is when he dies, and then at 6 o'clock, right before sundown, they pull him off because it's sundown. Like it's actually the Sabbath starts like right then. That day starts evening and then morning, evening and then morning. So when we're getting into this fun thing, we're getting into this rhythm of evening and then morning, and then you know the creation story. There's like 6 of these days that are evening, morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, and then finally, like on that seventh, it says the Lord rested. Exodus actually says that the Lord rested on the seventh day, and there's this great Hebrew word, I'm going to share it with you, vayenafashed, which means refreshed. And it's more than just this refreshing, it's like total rejuvenation, total revival, total just reset of everything. And you think, well, why did God need that? I don't know that he did, but maybe he's modeling something for us. Or if he did, or if he wanted it, maybe it's like if he wanted it, how much more would we want this refreshing, this reset, this everything that happens when you get into that pause? Almost like that pause, that fun. It's sacred. Now you think about what are people doing in the evening, like in the Hebrew mindset, like they're eating dinner. They're sharing stories with their family. They're around the campfire and they're telling tales about like what happened. There's certain verses where Moses would say, "Hey, when you're walking by the gates and when you're doing this thing, like talk about these stories with your kids so they grow up and they remember what the Lord has done for you." Like it's all in the context of just this life fun when you can just be. You don't have to produce. Okay, by the way, little rabbit trail here. Adam was created on the sixth day, and if you look at it, he was created at the end of the sixth day. Okay, so like at the end of the daylight time of the sixth day, like other things are created on the sixth day, he's created at the tail end of it, and then it says that he sleeps, and Eve's created while he sleeps. Like he does, and she's the crown of creation. He doesn't even participate in the greatest thing that happens, and then he steps into the seventh day, which is this day of rest. And the rest wouldn't be just laying around taking a nap. Like it is this day of pause, of reflection, of fun. So when you're thinking about fun, like here's a great image for you. Is I've got this book. I'll talk about it Friday, and I'll actually give some of them away. It's this book called Healthy Hustle. So I got the idea of that book and the image for the cover from the jazz musicians that you see, or any musicians that you see on the stage. You look at a stage when you see a band, and think about it when you go to church this Sunday, if your church is open. Think about if you go to a concert when those open back up. Think about it if you're just watching, like I know they've had all these award shows, like the Country Music Awards, and MTV will have some kind of award show. Just think about when you're watching the award show. There is no musician who seems to hustle more than the drummer. The drummer's the one that's keeping the cadence. The drummer's the one that's keeping the beat. Everything that's going on actually builds from the drums up in music. So they're the one that kind of starts. They even do the countdown. The drums work not because of when the drumsticks hit the drum or when the foot pounds the bass. The drums work not just because of the moments of on. In fact, there's more moments for the drummer of off than on. And the drums only work because of certain times when the boom happens and the boom happens and the boom happens and the, or the or it's the off as much as the on. In fact, if there is no off, it's just noise. And you think about like our lives when it's all just do, all work no play makes Jack a very dull boy. Is like what that saying is. All work no play is just noise, and noise is not music. It is why you get duct tape and you cover up your kids' sound effects on like the toys that make the noise, right? It's because like sometimes it's just noise. It's too loud. It's just, or if you listen to kids, they have those certain YouTube stations where the speakers are just loud and nasally and just on, and it's just noise. Yet that's the way so often we live our lives. And I think about why we do that. And so often it's back to that human doing, not human being thing, is you and I find our value, our identity in what we produce, in what we do. Better titles, we feel we're worth more. No title, we're not worth that much. More zeros on the paycheck or higher numbers at the front of the paycheck, we feel like we're more valuable. Like, and somehow we need to just realize, like, hey, that's not the correlation. Maybe that's sometimes why we strive and why we cease to step out of rhythm and cease the fun. Pastor Rick Warren, he's the guy that wrote The Purpose Driven Life out in California, Saddleback Church. He he says this at some point. I don't remember where he said it, but I do know that he's the guy that said it. It's not in his book. It was like sometime he said it from the stage. He actually said this. He says, every single day you need a daily diversion. That means like every day there needs to be this moment where you step out. There's something that you do that is fun. Now you might stack that up, and it might be your fitness is fun. Maybe for me, that's one of the things that is fun for me is fitness. And so going for a long run on the weekends is incredibly fun, or a long bike ride on the weekends is lots of fun. And honestly, it's during that fun that sometimes some of my best ideas happen, or some things that I've really been struggling to figure out actually come together. And the reason for that is because when you step out and step into fitness, or you step into like exercise, it fires the other side of the brain. It fires the parasympathetic nervous system, is like the technical term for that, which gets you out of emotion. And all of a sudden, like the things that have been weighing on you that sometimes you can't really sort through, like somehow those things just start sorting themselves almost automatically. That's why you can be sitting on the beach and all of a sudden, like, you're like, oh, I know how I'm going to renovate the house. Or you're sitting on the beach, you're like, oh, I know what my kid's struggling with. Like, you're able to just put the pieces together. You're sitting on the beach, and like all of a sudden this relational issue that you've been struggling with gets fixed, or this budgeting issue that you've been trying to figure out, how am I gonna, or this work problem that you've been trying to, but you can't quite get it. It's in the moments of fun, in those diversions, that somehow the other side of the brain just works, that tends to work things out. You get it? Like when you step into that rhythm of on and off, on and then lots of off. So Pastor Rick Warren, Purpose Driven Life, says that every day you need this daily diversion. I think one of the reasons people snap so many pictures of themselves going to Starbucks, I mean, I had to wait the other day coming out of the drive-through because some gal was in front of me and she's getting the cup just right and like sorting it just where you can get the logo. And I know she's like trying to, she gets her phone. I know she's just trying to put that thing on Instagram. I think one of the reasons people are so enamored with like those things is really we're just searching for fun. Now, don't get me wrong, I like coffee, but goodness, like at the end of the day, like maybe we're substituting like low level stuff, low level diversion for fun because we can't turn off the phones, we won't turn off the stuff, we won't step out of productivity and just do things like walk. Just do things like play a game. Just do things like sip some wine and talk on the back porch. Just do some things like take a hike up a mountain. Just do some things like take a long bike ride. Just do some things like play some video games. Just do some things that add no productivity value to life, because sometimes in those diversions, you, you find the greatest value. Sunday, this last week, one of the best days I've had in a long time. I mean, I've had a lot of great days. But Sunday I got up really early, had to finish this work project or finish the next stage of it. So me and one of the guys I'd hired, we went out and we crushed it Sunday morning like 5:30. I mean, I literally was in the Starbucks line when they opened and greeted them. You know, got it. We went out. We worked about 3 hours, picked up some supplies, crushed it, went on. I went to church. Um, went to church. It was a little less than thrilling because we all had masks on and that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like kind of the level that it's not there for me anyway, right? Like it's not like there to serve me. So I get that. Afterwards, went to eat lunch. Just no purpose, just chilling out. And then we went to a store. And then while we're there, my daughter says, "Hey, can we go to the mall?" And so then we go to the mall. And then we bought some stuff at the mall. Got it way cheaper than what we thought. And then we went not to the mall, we went back to my house and we set up this deer feeder. And and my gosh, like these deers are killing the corn. Like they're eating right through it. And then we went and got a haircut. And one of the boys wanted a haircut. And then we went to the coffee shop while he's getting a haircut because you can't all go over there because of COVID. And then after the coffee shop where we got like a free pastry, we went back and bought a little kicking tee and went and, he ran some routes and I threw to him and taught him how to place kick and all this kind of stuff. Went back, hung out. Beth had showed up, cooked for the kids. We'd been hanging out with her during the day. Like it was just non-productive in the work sense, but totally productive in the like we're just enjoying the day. And that kind of leads me into this thing. Like Rick Warren says, you need a daily diversion, you need a weekly withdrawal. Like once a week, you just need to step away from the phone and not use it for work. Maybe use it so your friends and family can get in touch with you, but stop scrolling. Stop getting on the political stuff and just have fun. Like enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, enjoy even some solitude. Daily diversion, weekly withdrawal, annual abandonment. Tell you, I've been looking forward to this one. Been making sure like the right people got passports and all that kind of stuff because I'm looking forward to. Been doing like these daily diversions, for the most part. Not every day because I've been having these extra projects going on. Weekly, been trying to withdraw. Not perfect on it by any stretch of the imagination, which is probably why this last weekend was so great. Um, but looking forward to annually, just like checking out people trying to get in touch with me. You can't because I'll be gone. You see, the challenge this week for you is to not find your identity in all the stuff that you produce. Man, there's an amazing call in your life, and there is something I guarantee you that you are designed to produce. Something that is a gift that's inside of you that you embody because you're the gift that you bring to the world. But you can only do that, or you can only do it more readily when you take these moments of pause and just enjoy the gifts around you that God has given you. You see? And when we do that, that's what the thing is of fun. Let me read the definition to you one more time as we close out. Fun is this: it is an intentional pause from our inherent drive towards productivity. Some of us, bigger drive than others, but it's this drive towards produce, 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 produce. It is a step back. Fun can be in any area, right? It's a step back from that in order to rest, to restore the body, the soul, and the spirit, as well as enjoy the good gifts that God grants for our enjoyment.